Welcome to EPG Pathshala lecture series on data analytics. In this session on data analytics, we will be discussing about an important type of NoSQL database called MongoDB. The session related to MongoDB has been split into 3. So, we will be discussing about MongoDB in 3 sessions. As first part of the MongoDB, we will first learn the basics of MongoDB, followed by understand the need for MongoDB as a data store, learn how to set up MongoDB environment both in Windows as well as in Ubuntu or Linux environment, and then understand basic MongoDB queries or querying languages. First, let us understand what is MongoDB. MongoDB is a cross-platform document-oriented database which provides high performance, high availability and easy scalability. All these three are very important and related with respect to CAP theorem. So, high performance in terms of consistency, in terms of availability also. High availability is also essential for performance, and easy scalability, that is, it must scale for very large data. MongoDB works on concepts of collection and document. We learnt what is collection and document in the previous session when we are discussing about document based data stores. First, let us understand few terminologies related to MongoDB. What is called as a database in a MongoDB? In MongoDB, database is a physical container for collections. Each database gets its own set of files on the file system. A single MongoDB server typically has multiple databases. So, you can have any number of databases inside a single MongoDB server. The next definition is what is collection. Collection is a group of MongoDB documents. It is equivalent to the RDBMS table. So, within a table, what is that you can see is set of rows and columns. So, here collection is actually set of documents. In relational environment, we can consider this collection actually one instance within a database. That instance can be a table. Collection do not enforce schema, which is opposite of say a table or a relation in RDBMS environment. Documents within a collection can have different fields. Typically, all documents in a collection are of similar or related purposes. The next definition is document definition. A document is a set of key valued pairs. Documents have dynamic schema. Dynamic here in the sense it may vary with respect to each and every document. Document schema means that document in the same collection do not have the same set of fields or structures. Few documents may have common fields in a collection of documents, but even those common fields may have different types of data, and that is the meaning of dynamism with respect to documents. So, having understood what is a database, what is a collection, and then what is a document in a MongoDB environment, let us proceed knowing the differences between RDBMS and MongoDB. In RDBMS environment, whatever we term as database is also named the same way as database, but what we call as table in RDBMS environment is called as collection in MongoDB environment. Documents in a MongoDB environment are equivalent to the row or tuple in RDBMS environment. So, documents have set of key value pairs. Similarly, tables will also have set of key value pairs. Columns in RDBMS environment are equal to fields in MongoDB. Whenever we perform join, that is joining of table, the join in RDBMS is equivalent to embedding documents. Actually speaking, we do not have any join in MongoDB, but embedded documents can be considered as joins in MongoDB environment. Primary key in an RDBMS environment is also named as a primary key. Every document will be associated with a default key ID. So, whenever you are trying to save a document, automatically a key ID will be assigned by the MongoDB itself. The database server and client are the Oracle and MongoDB in Mongo database environment. It is SQL Plus in RDBMS environment and Mongo in Mongo database environment. Now, let us take a look at a sample document, how this sample document is seen from a MongoDB perspective. When you take a look at this document, you find every document is associated to an ID. By default, an ID is assigned in MongoDB, or if a user provides an object ID, then a separate object ID which is given by the user is assigned to the document. Every document will have its own field like title as shown here, description of the document, say who has or who is the author or who created this document by field, then in which URL this document content is highlighted, tags related to this document. If it is going to be say an article that is available in this web page www.abc.com, there may be many users who have read and given a like to this particular content, and that like can be indicated by means of a like field. Then the comments given by various users after reading the document. So, each and every user internally are going to be a document nested within this document. So, every user will have a user ID, the message given by the user, the date when this message or the review comment was given, and the like. Likewise, a document is represented in a MongoDB environment. What we spoke as an object ID is actually a 12-byte hexadecimal number which makes every document unique. Actually, as I mentioned, when you create a document, you can provide your own document ID, that is, while inserting the document, you can provide your own document ID, else MongoDB itself will provide a unique ID for every document. Since this is going to be 12 byte, the breakup of these 12 bytes are as follows. The first 4 bytes indicate the current timestamp, the next 3 bytes of this ID indicates the machine ID, the next 2 bytes indicate the process ID of the MongoDB server, and the last or the remaining 3 bytes are simple incremental value. So, the combination of these bytes make the document ID more unique with itself. What are the advantages of MongoDB when compared with RDBMS environment? The first and foremost advantage is MongoDB is schema-less. In the previous session, we discussed that MongoDB is a type of NoSQL database. So, NoSQL databases deal with schema-less environments. So, MongoDB is a document database in which one collection holds different documents. The number of fields, the content and size of the document can differ from one document with respect to the other document. Therefore, it is considered to be schema-less. The structure of a single object is very clear, because every field associated to a given object is defined clearly. It does not involve joins, therefore, there is no complex join except for nested documents. The querying is going to be very deep, that is, MongoDB supports dynamic queries on documents using document based query languages that is nearly as powerful as an SQL query. Tuning of database is also very easy. It is easy to scale out because MongoDB has got inbuilt mechanism to scale out. Conversion or mapping of applications or application objects to database objects are not at all needed, because it happens implicitly. It uses internal memory for storing working set and enabling faster access to data, which is not in case of SQL, but if you want to do that in RDBMS environment, you will have to do it by explicit way. The need for MongoDB are, since it is an object oriented storage, the data stored will be in the form of JSON style documents, that is JavaScript object documents. Indexes can be an arbitrary type and it can be on any attribute. Replication and high availability is going to be an implicit feature of MongoDB. Therefore, the need rises in case of voluminous data storage environment and in social media data environment. Auto sharding is there, rich queries are supported by MongoDB, fast in place updates are there, and there is going to be professional support in terms of version availability as well as in terms of maintenance for MongoDB, and this creates a large need for MongoDB in the current industry environment. Where all this MongoDB is used? Few of the places or contexts where MongoDB are used are wherever you have big data, you can make use of MongoDB. Wherever you require content management and delivery, there you require voluminous data, and hence the data will be unstructured. In majority of the scenario it will be unstructured, and hence you may require a non-relational type of database like MongoDB. It is mobile and social infrastructure, and wherever you require user data management or wherever you have social infrastructure and management of it, then you can go for MongoDB, and whenever you have a data hub, there you can make use of MongoDB for maintenance as well as usage of the data in the hub. These are the various places or applications of MongoDB. Now, the rest of the session is all about how to install MongoDB and then perform simple querying on MongoDB. Whenever you want to work with MongoDB, the first thing you should do is download the latest release of MongoDB from the URL given in this slide, www.mongodb.org/downloads. While you are downloading, see to that you get the recent version. After downloading and installing it, make sure you get correct version depending upon the Windows or the open source OS that you have. Mostly MongoDB are available in both 32-bit as well as 64-bit versions, but 32-bit versions of MongoDB support only data whose size is less than 20 GB, and also it is suitable for testing and evaluation purposes only. So, when you want to have a good taste of the complete MongoDB, then you should go for the 64-bit version of MongoDB. Now, how to install? Before installing or getting the file, you should know what is the current window version you are having. So, whatever I am going to explain now is for Windows environment. Later we will discuss about, say, an open source kind of OS environment. So, in the Windows environment, if you want to know what is the version of Windows you have, 32-bit or 64-bit, you can simply type this command wmic space os space get space os architecture, and when you press the enter key, it will give you OS architecture and the version, that is the 64-bit version or 32-bit version according to what you have installed in your machine. The next thing you should do is download the respective MongoDB version, and then you should install that into your drive. So, what is the command to extract the downloaded, that is the MongoDB exe file from the downloaded file is write move space MongoDB Win64 if it is going to be a 64-bit version, else it will be Win32. Now, one directory will be extracted and placed into the respective folder. Having extracted, next what you should do is you should set the path. MongoDB actually requires a data folder to store its file. The default location where MongoDB data will be stored is in the directory C/data/db. So, you have a directory named DB inside the data folder in your C drive. So, you need to create a folder like this. If you do not have a folder like this, create a folder like this using the command prompt, using the make directory command, and then you will have to set the path. So, MongoDB, if it is going to be in a different location, if it is not in C drive, if it is going to be in a different location, then you need to specify an alternate path for the data/db folder or directory. How this can be done is, you will have to go to the respective drive and then you will have to type cd setup, which after which you should type cd MongoDB and then you should type cd bin. It will take you to the bin folder in which you will find the MongoDB.exe file. There you will have to set the path. Having set the path, then you can run the MongoDB once you open another command prompt and use it for typing the following command. So, create a new command prompt environment and there you type the given command as shown in this slide. So, set up MongoDB/bin mongo.exe. If you type this mongo.exe, MongoDB after running, it will highlight what version of MongoDB is been running, whether it is successful or not, and accordingly it will display a answer. Now, this actually shows whether the MongoDB version that you have taken has been installed correctly and running properly. Suppose you do this for the first time and the next time when you want to make use of the same MongoDB environment, then what is that you should do is, you need to type two commands. One command is setting the path command, another command is once again typing the mongo.exe to run the MongoDB exe file. This is how you should set up the MongoDB environment. If the same need to be done in Ubuntu environment, then you need to follow the following commands. So, you can first identify the MongoDB public GPG key, use it for the purpose of installing this, create a separate folder by using the following command, and then you need to issue the following command to update the repository. So, make use of the update command and then update the repository. Having updated, next you need to install MongoDB by making use of the command called install MongoDB-10gen and indicating the specific version. The most recent version is 3.4.2 and that is what is indicated here. Then you will have to start the MongoDB using the start command. If you want to stop the MongoDB, you can make use of the stop command, and when you want to restart MongoDB, you can make use of the command restart. The following command simply can be used for starting or running MongoDB, that is simply type Mongo in the command prompt and then enter, hit the enter key, it will execute the MongoDB framework. So, this will connect to the running MongoDB instance. So, any number of such MongoDB instances may be created. So, having understood how to install MongoDB environment, how to set up a MongoDB environment both in Windows as well as Ubuntu environment, now let us understand how data modeling can be done in MongoDB environment. Basically, you need to understand the requirement, and based on the requirement you need to design your schema. After designing the schema, you need to combine the objects into one document in case if you are going to use all of them together. Otherwise, you can have separate documents with separate fields for each. Another important thing you must do is, you should have duplication. So, duplicate the data. There is actually an upper limitation for the duplication, but still then it is decided based on the disk space. Then you need to perform joins only while writing and not during read. Then you should optimize the schema based on how frequent you access various documents, and you need to generate various complex aggregations out of the schema that you have designed. So, this is how data modeling need to be done, and these are the various steps which you need to follow. Let us take an example. Assume you are a client and you require a database design for your blog or website. in the website you want to see the differences between RDBMS and MongoDB schema in terms of the design. Now, we can make use of this example. The website has the following requirements, that is, the website may have various posts. Every post has a unique title, description and URL. Every post can have one or more tags. Every post has name of the publisher and the total number of likes associated to each and every post. Every post has comments given by users along with their name, message, data and the likes. The likes are related to the various data time. On each post there can be 0 or more comments. So, assume these are the requirements. Now, for these requirements you are going to come up with a simple model, that is data model using MongoDB environment. Let us see how it will look like. If it is going to be an RDBMS environment, for this you require 3 separate tables, one for holding the comments, one for holding the posts and another one for the tag list. And how it may look like is as shown in this slide. So, the comments may be highlighted using a key called comment ID, followed by a post ID which is a foreign key from the table called post table. Comments are associated to user, the message related to the comment, the time at which it was given and the likes. Post is associated to a title, description, URL, likes related to the post and who posted it. Similarly, tags may be used for indicating various posts. So, in an RDBMS environment you require minimum 3 such tables for developing the given scenario, but in case of MongoDB environment you do not require 3, instead you just require only one collection of posts and it will have the following structure. So, here you can find the structure having an ID. So, the ID indicates one important document highlighting the post ID. The title of this document is title of the post, description of this document is post description and who posted it, in which particular URL, the tags associated to it and the likes. Then every post is associated by various replies or comments or reviews and each and every comment is associated to user. So, every comment may be associated to users and whether it is associated to a like given by this user or not. So, you have parameters like user, message, when the comment was created, like. Similarly, for each and every comment you can have a typical structure. So, when you take a look at this, you will find say only one single collection for the concept called post, which together has integrated the details about the users, then the comments posted by and also the tags related to this post. Now, this will help in reducing the space associated to the given scenario. So, while showing the data in RDBMS, what happens is, since you are having the data in 3 tables, you need to perform a join and then project the information, but here in MongoDB it is not at all essential. All that you need to do is read the data from one single collection and project it. So, thereby the process of projection becomes very simple in case of a MongoDB environment. So, from this example we can understand how easy it is to maintain certain requirements in the real world scenario using MongoDB environment. Now, when you want to create a MongoDB database, how it can be done? So, the rest of the slides will be dedicated towards fundamental MongoDB queries used for creating databases, updating the databases, etc. The basic syntax for creating a database is use database statement. Use space database underscore the name, where the name indicates the name of the database which you have created. For example, type the keyword use followed by the database name. In this case, if your database name is MyDB, then type use space MyDB, then automatically you will be moving or switching to the database called MyDB, which is created under your directory. Now, if you want to check currently which database is selected and you are working in which particular database, then you can make use of the command db. Simply type the keyword db, it will display the current selected database. Here in this scenario, the current selected database is MyDB. Suppose if you want to check the databases list, then you can make use of show dbs command. The show dbs command will list down all the databases that are created and in the current working directory. So, here in this scenario there are two databases. By default, anything that you create, any document collection that you create will be saved into the test directory in MongoDB environment. So, for creating this database, when you create a database and then use say the show dbs database command, only if you have inserted a value or only if you have inserted a document into the database, it will be listed by the show dbs command. So, now what is that you need to do when you want your database called MyDB to be listed? First you should insert something into the database. So, for inserting you require the command called insert. So, db.movie.insert is the command, and insert I have a file named making of Gandhi. Now, when you type the command show dbs, automatically it will list down the dbs that you have created. But when you take a look at the previous scenario, when you have typed this show dbs, you will not find the MyDB database listed here, since not even a single document has been created under this. So, you will have to compulsorily create at least one document and insert into the database, only then it will be displayed by the show dbs command. MongoDB by default uses the test database. So, if you are not specifying the database into which you are inserting, by default it will be inserted into the test database. Having created a database, next we can also drop a database. So, for dropping database, you make use of the command called drop database command. The general syntax is db.dropDatabase. This will select this will delete the selected database. If you have not selected any database, then it will delete the default database called test, which is the default database in MongoDB environment. So, for deleting and then taking a look at the available database, let us see. First, let us make use of the command show database to see what are the databases available. There are three databases: local, MyDB and test. Then if you want to delete the MyDB database, then you will have to make use of the command drop database. Before dropping the database, what is that you should do is you should switch to the my database. So, make use of the command use MyDB, go to the MyDB and then there type db.dropDatabase. So, it will then display return you a value dropped MyDB OK and 1, which indicates that MyDB database has been dropped. Now, if you make use of the show dbs command to list down the databases that are available, you can find your MyDB database deleted, and hence only the remaining two databases local and test will be highlighted here. Next is how to create collection. So, for create collection there is a method called create collection method. So, the create collection method syntax is db.create collection and it takes in two parameters, name and option. So, when you want to create a collection, first you should go into the respective DB by using use DB command, and then you will have to type DB create collection. Here name is actually a parameter of type string, it indicates the name of the collection which you are trying to create, and option is actually of type document, it is an optional parameter, it specifies what are the options about memory size and indexing. Let us take an example for create collection. So, when you make use of the create collection, first let us move to the database called test. So, you type use test, go to the specific database and then type db.create collection. My collection is the name, see I told you it is a string. So, my collection is given in double quotes. So, once this command is executed, it will return a value 1 indicating a collection named my collection has been created. Next what you can do is you can make use of the command show collection and you can identify what are the collections that are created. The recently created collection, my collection, is displayed here. The next example is for dropping a collection. So, dropping a collection is done using the drop method. So, the syntax is db dot collection name dot drop. So, when you execute this command, automatically a collection that has been created by you will be dropped. For example, you have created a collection named my collection. Now, use this show method to list down all possible collections, then type the my collection drop command. When it is executed correctly, it will return a value true. Then when you list down the collections, you will find the previously created my collection has been dropped and only the remaining two collections will be highlighted here. So, in summary, there is a great paradigm shift in databases that is happening. MongoDB type of NoSQL databases are becoming extremely attractive to various modern application development, which involves complex data structures and huge volumes of data. For DBAs, some things are different, some things stay the same, certain things are no schemas, but they go in for multiple servers. In such scenarios, these types of databases, NoSQL type of databases like MongoDB is what that comes for rescue, and that is what is very much essential for current application development scenarios. Thank you.